What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Uncharted 1. Today is the 15-year anniversary of the game, and so this isn't necessarily going to be a retrospective or anything. I maybe would one day do that on the main channels where I write a script, kind of put a little bit more effort into it. This is more off the cuff. I didn't even know, honestly, it was the 15-year anniversary until I woke up today and saw it. But I couldn't let the day go. Uncharted is my favorite franchise. These games, as they came out, not necessarily Uncharted 1, but like 2, then 3, then 4, they became my favorite games of all time at the time they would release. So like when Uncharted 2 came out, I was saying, well, this is my favorite game. When 3 came out, I fully believe 3 is better than 2, and I believe 4 is the best of all of them. And so I've been saying that. And, this is a very important franchise to me. And for this to have started it all 15 years ago, well, that's kind of nuts, right? So the first Uncharted game honestly does have a lot of flaws. It is, in my opinion, and if you include Golden Abyss and Lost Legacy, Uncharted 1, I think, is by miles the weakest one. I actually think Golden Abyss is better than Uncharted 1. With that being said, the importance of Uncharted 1 to the entire franchise is gigantic, right? Like, it literally couldn't be bigger, because while I do think the games get better over time, and this game isn't, again, the most even experience, but if you didn't have this, you wouldn't have those, right? And you look at a lot in the gaming industry of those jumps between games 1 and 2. I guess one thing, like the reason why there's a jump in the first place, right, would be probably that the first game was a little bit weaker and then the second game really took it up a notch. But the reason there was a second game even in the first place means that there was something, there had to have been something special with the first game, right? You look at maybe Assassin's Creed, right? That's kind of a hot topic. Like 2, yeah, that jump was gigantic, but like you couldn't have had that jump if Assassin's Creed 1 didn't land in some regard. And it's the same thing with Uncharted. Nate, Sully, Elena, the entire group, mainly the protagonists, right? The antagonists were a little bit, Eddie Raja will always be, a fan favorite, that's for sure. But overall, the villains weren't the most creative of all time. This is the most like Indiana Jones-esque kind of game because it was, kind of the origin. But really, when it came to Nate, Sully, and Elena, that was your core 3, and they did a phenomenal job with all those characters. I think the game, in terms of holding up 15 years later, well, I recently actually played this game, 2 years ago. 2 summers ago, I went through and I replayed all 4 of them, and I guess Lost Legacy included, so 5. Back to back to back. I just did it for like that entire summer. I played these 5 games, and I love them. And I think back, at least in 2020, Uncharted 1, it still holds up okay. The visuals, yes, definitely they have aged, but there is something to those visuals. And the combat, well, the gunplay, actually, I still think is really good. I've always liked the gunplay of Uncharted. It is definitely different. It's not a gunplay for everybody, right? But it works for me. In terms of the hand-to-hand stuff, yeah, that was really, really bad. And of course, they, fixed it as time went on. That was a big point to fix in Uncharted 2. You also have some of the more uneven story elements, right? You have the introduction of the more supernatural things towards the second half, which then became, kind of like a recurring theme. It didn't really seem like it fit all that well in Uncharted 1 when you're playing. Like, if you're playing it through for the first time, it's like, all right, well, I don't know if you necessarily needed to do that. But again, taking inspiration from certain movie franchises that came before it. It is uneven, all right? The game is definitely uneven. There are a lot of weaknesses to it. Mainly, I would say some of the jankiness, right? Even some of like the platforming stuff, but it's an origin. And I think the strengths of this game, again, it really still, in my opinion, does hold up. I could listen to Nate talking to Sully and all this stuff. I could listen to that forever. I think the game does have really good mystery to it. And again, we wouldn't have these future games. We wouldn't have Uncharted 2, 3, so on, if we didn't get this one. So I've always liked this game. I got my PS3 in June of 2009 because I bought it right before my birthday. And, Prototype was one of the first games I actually got. And then for that Christmas, so Christmas of 2009, just about to go into 2010, that's when I got Uncharted 1, I believe, for Christmas, along with a couple other PS3 games. That's the first time I played it. I remember I had like a stack. I got maybe like all I wanted that year for Christmas was games. So I got like 6 or 7 PS3 games, and I didn't get much else, but I did get those. And I would every day I would cycle. I would do the game at the top of the stack, then I would do the second game. And Uncharted was one that really obviously stood out to me. And so at that point, right, Christmas of 09, Uncharted 2 actually would have also already been out because it was 09, and then 11 was Uncharted 3. So I don't think I got Uncharted 2 till later, but I did play Uncharted 1 around Christmas and then January of 09 into 10, beat it, and then I must have gotten Uncharted 2 shortly after that. Then I started trying to get my friend into it, and we played Uncharted 1 together, then we played Uncharted 2 together, and then we went into 3. And from that point, so 3 was the first Uncharted game I got, like day one. I was ready for it and all that stuff, and then the rest is history. But it is my favorite franchise of all time. I love it to death. There are some things in this game that have aged really, really badly, but at the same time, it still has that heart, still has that, it's got the comedy, it's got emotion, it's got a really great, again, kind of relationship triangle. Not that, Sully and Elena or anything, but, it's got all of it, and it does have action. And I think for 2007, I mean, when you think about it, right, that a game of that quality, same thing. I mean, really, when I judge a year for gaming, if Uncharted came out in that year, it's part of the conversation to me. So, like, when I judge 2009 or 2009 games, or even games that were like 10, 11, 12, I think, well, Uncharted 2 came out in 09. So this game that came out in 11, what's the excuse here? Right? Like, I almost use it like against games. But that really is the bar, I think, of Uncharted to me. That if a game came out in like 2014, I'm like, Uncharted 3 was 2011. So this game, there's no excuse for this game to be like this because Uncharted 3 came out 3 years ago. And I still think that kind of holds true even with Uncharted 4, even though now, we're 6.5 years past that coming out. So it's interesting, but that's kind of my origin story with Uncharted. I was many years late, but I got the PS3 late. Like I said, I got the PS3 June of 09, so I got, the PS3 almost 2 years after Uncharted came out. I didn't know anything about Sony exclusives at the time. I knew a little bit about Infamous because Infamous was so connected to Prototype at the time, but I really didn't know almost anything about Uncharted. I don't think I asked for Uncharted specifically. I'm pretty sure I just asked for PS3 games, and my parents got me Uncharted. I'll have to run it by them to see if they remember, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. So I should thank my parents because they got me into the franchise, and no, I mean, it means so much to me. So let me know what you guys think about Uncharted 1. What was your experience playing it? Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.